Bem-vindos a Inteligências Lúdicas. Meu nome é Rodrigo Manique. Estou aqui com o grande designer Calvin Wong. Hello, Calvin.
Hello.
First, thank you very much for accepting this chat.
No problem. I love to talk about games.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's always nice to meet people from around the world, you know, because board games is such a it brings people together. So it makes me really happy that you asked me to be on your show.
Oh, we appreciate. This video will be watched by people in Brazil, Latin America, Portugal, and I believe other countries as well. So people really like to see what is inside the designer's mind, how it works. They work. And please, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yes. I like games. I've always liked games, and I've always been thinking about them, designing little like homebrew systems, even from, you know, from when I was very young, like creating alternate rules for Risk, creating alternate rules for Monopoly, for Battleship. You know, I've always been doing that kind of thing. So I really got into board games in the last 8 or 9 years. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, I'm wrong. 2013, yeah. So like 12 years ago, I really started to get into board games. No, wrong. 2004. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I think my first modern game that I bought was Rob Davio's Risk 2210, the science fiction Risk game from Avalon Hill. That was the first board game that I bought. Then bought the StarCraft board game and the Doom board game and Twilight Imperium and Chaos in the Whole World. You know, back then, right? Those were the big titles, and I love board games ever since. And I started writing about them for fun. Then I started writing about them because people asked me to. Then I started, because of that, I got the opportunity to meet all of these people, including Eric, who's my co-designer for the Mass Effect board game. And he asked me one day a few years ago, Calvin, would you like to help me co-design this game, since I know that you like Mass Effect very much? And I said, yeah, okay, I can do that. I would love to try to do that. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's amazing. So the Mass Effect, you are a true Mass Effect fan.
I don't know what is true, but I am a Mass Effect fan. Yes.
Yeah, because I've played the first one 10, maybe more years ago, the Xbox 360, and then I played the full game 5-6 times. Then the second one again, even more. Then the third. I know people say, okay, the Mass Effect 3, there are some issues. No, I don't think there are issues. I think it's okay. That's what the story needs to tell, and you have to accept it. And watching the video, playing the video games as many times, I'm really, I was really excited to see the board game coming to life. And how did you manage to capture pretty much the combat, for example, how the combat works? How did it happen?
Whenever you're making a game, you have many, especially a game based on something, right? So you have many things that you want. So I want the characters to feel like how they felt in the video game, right? So they should, when the players play them, they should feel like those characters. So that's one restriction that we have. The combat should be simple, accessible, streamlined, easy to remember how it works, because our target for the game is people who love the video game, but whose shelf doesn't look like yours and mine. You know, they may not play board games, or they play 1 or 2 board games, but they love Mass Effect. And then when they see the board game, they think, oh, I would love to go on another adventure with Shepard and Liara and Tali and Garrus and Rex. And then they buy it, and I don't want them to have this experience where they go like, how do I move again? You know, I want it to be as simple as possible. That's what we wanted. So that's the second restriction. The third restriction is it should feel, to us, it should be fast, right? Because it's a game. In Mass Effect, the combat is fast. It's not like chess. You're not really slowing down to think, how do I do this? Obviously, in the board game, it will always be slower than the video game, but we want it to be, we don't want the players to sit there and go, okay, 8 plus 7 minus 3. We don't want any of that. So when we had those restrictions, and also the other restrictions of, it must play nice, it must feel good, it must go with the rest of the game. The BioWare must like it because BioWare has to say okay to everything that we do, right? So lots and lots of different considerations that we have to have when we do not just combat but anything in the game. But at the end of the day, for me, those first 3 are the most important. It should be fast, it should be easy, and you should feel like the character that you love from the game when you play the board game. So those are the things that were most important when we were designing combat.
Really, really interesting, because especially when some franchise people love playing and then see, and it is a very big responsibility you were carrying to bring us this huge experience for Mass Effect fans and non-Mass Effect fans, because I showed I played to one of the full campaign, and one of them didn't know the game, and he had a blast. So playing it was, oh my god, I have to send this mining. He was playing with Rex, right? And he was okay. Oh, wow, I can be strong. I can hunt them all and fight and jump and try to hit all of them in one single hit. So I kind of, and I said, that's very true to him.
So one of the things, because I had played the games, all of the video games. Eric had played the first one, but not. It was a very long time ago, and he's not even sure if he finished the game. I think he finished the game, but he played it once a long time ago, kind of thing. So it was quite useful that he didn't have the kind of emotional attachment to the game, because then he can say things like, "Oh, just in case somebody has never played Mass Effect before, does this still work? Does this still make sense?" Right? Because even though, like I said, our main audience is people who love Mass Effect, the series is old. There are children growing up today who they are old. They were born before the video game came out, right? So it did come out a very long time ago. So it's possible that a lot of our audience also hasn't played it, right? They see Eric's name on the box, they go, "Oh, I love Eric's board games. I kind of know what Mass Effect is," or they think, "Oh, I love tactics games. I see this. Oh, it's science fiction. It looks interesting." So they buy it, right? So we still have to make sure that the game worked, even if you didn't understand Mass Effect at all. Which, fortunately, like your friend, I have played this game with many people who do love the games very much and who don't really know anything about the games at all. Some people have never even heard of Mass Effect. When they played it, they just, "Oh, would you like to play this board game? It's cooperative, you're soldiers." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, I'll give that a try," right? But they had never heard of the video game before, and they still had a great time. So that's very happy about that, because we worked quite hard to make it work for both of those audiences as well.
You nailed it.
Oh, thank you. I do want to say that you have to make sacrifices, right? Every time you do something, because if you go one way, you can't go the other way, right? Because there were some comments, and I understand these comments. I understand where they're coming from. When we first announced the game, when they saw the game, they said, "It's a $50 box. There's only 6 minis. There's only one campaign. What? Mass Effect is so epic and so big. The universe is so large, right? Like, why can't we have a big Gloomhaven style box full of Mass Effect things?" And I understand, because if I wasn't making the game, that's what I want too, because I love it. I love Mass Effect so much, right? I want to open the box and there's like all the 20 squad mates there that I can choose from, and I can go to like explore the galaxy and go to all the different missions. But at the end of the day, we thought about it and we decided that what was most important is that it was accessible to, like I said, people who don't really play board games. So if it was like $150, right, people will see it, they go, ooh, that looks big and complicated and expensive. So maybe they won't buy it. But if it's $50, which is where we ended up the price, then it's a low risk, right? They see it on the shelf, they go, Mass Effect, and then they just buy it without thinking so hard, right? So, and also if we had so much components and so much content and big rule book, for them it was very scary, right? It's intimidating. They open the box and they're like, oh no, what do? I have to spend 3 hours assembling and punching and sorting cards before I can even start playing the game. We didn't want that. We want them to be able to start playing in, they just punch out the tokens, read the rulebook a little bit, maybe an hour, then you can start, fast. That's what we wanted.
About the characters that you brought us, mine, of course, was this one, right?
Garrus, yeah. Everyone loves Garrus.
And we feel it. We feel, because I will try, and then I got into the middle of the battle and was shot by. No, I have to stay away, place the mines, and recalibrate to shoot at the guys and the people, and and I remember every single moment he used the weapon in order to hit people for a headshot, and then let's wait more because he's concentrated, aiming better, and he's using this line, this track here to show that he's recalibrating, and his shields go back, and then like the video game, now the shields start leveling up again, recharging. Really cool aspects of the game. I'm so excited to tell you that, because it's, as a fan of Mass Effect, and yours as well now, because
thank you.
you brought us so much joy to something that we really like. You told us about how was it to set up this scenario that takes place during Mass Effect 3, if I'm not mistaken, and make it fit into the storyline, since it's kind of a lost mission, because this happens after they attacked the big secret base.
I want to say before I answer the question is that sniper meter on Garrus is one of my favorite things that I designed for the game. It was an idea that came out just perfect. It was in the first draft of Garrus, and it survived all the way to the end. But Eric did make it better, because when I made it, I just wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? I think he made it so that the numbers go like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts like the later numbers get bigger, right? So it was his idea to make it so that waiting is more rewarding than using it earlier, which I think is really smart. And this is the kind of thing that Eric does a lot because he has so much experience designing games, right? So he knows things like how to do the damage curves and how many hit points your enemies have, and when you're talking about the maps, right? Where to put the enemies, where to put the loot tokens. That was mostly Eric. 90% is his ideas. You're asking about the concept for the lost mission. That was again the first draft idea. It was one of the very first ideas that I came up with, and I said it in the meeting, and I said, okay, we'll take this to BioWare. BioWare said, yes, okay, we like this concept, because it could have been like one extra mission that they didn't have time to make, or they left it out of the video game for whatever reason, right? Or maybe they wanted to add it, but they didn't end up doing it. So that's how we wanted it to feel, right? So it's like an extra mission in the plot of Mass Effect 3. The reason I came up with the concept is because that seemed like the most obvious way to do it to me, because Mass Effect 2 story is very. It felt like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. 3 had the most space to play around. Three had the most space to play around, and many different periods of time where I could put the characters in. And also, it turned out that Mass Effect 3 also was good for us because the characters like looks, the armor, and the enemies. Mass Effect 3 has the best variety of like, things that we can have as well. So that ended up being useful for us.
And was it difficult besides Garrus, right?
Yeah.
To choose the characters for this game? Was there any you wanted to include, like Morden or Legion?
Morden. So the first pitch was those 5 characters and Morden. But we had to cut one character. This was something that happened very early on. I actually have made Morden draft character abilities. I have them. Maybe I'll show them one day. But the publisher came back to us and said, we've gotten the quote from the factory. They can only fit 6 minis on one mold. The mold for the plastic, right? If we want mini number 7, we have to do 2 molds. And the molds cost tens of thousands of dollars each, right? So basically the choice was, do we want to add 6 more characters or take away 1 character? And it makes much more sense given everything I said just now about we want to keep the price down, we want to make it accessible, we have to take out 1 character. So we can't take out Shepard, right? We have to have Mass Shepard and Fem Shepard in the box. So that was one of the things that BioWare specifically said you can't do. If you have Shepard, you must have both.
Yes.
And then we decided, okay, so who do we take away out of the 5 that we have left? And Morden got chosen for 2 reasons. The first reason is that we already have Liara and Tali, and Morden's abilities kind of overlap a little bit with Liara's biotics and Tali's hacking and drone, right? Because he's the doctor. His abilities are like, I set the enemy on fire, heal. So he's a support character as well, right? So do we need 3 support characters in this game? So maybe not. And the second reason was everyone else in the cast right now is from Mass Effect 1. He's the only Mass Effect 2 character. So it made slightly more sense to take him out of the game. A third, very small reason, but a third reason is that in Mass Effect 3, he's busy, right? He's doing other stuff during the story, right? But it's just very, very small consideration. The other 2 are much bigger problems for us.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So okay, and a chance to see him in the future or Legion.
I would love to do nothing but make Mass Effect expansions for the next 20 years, but it's not up to me. I would love to do Thane, Legion, Morden, Miranda, Jack, Kasumi, Zaid, all everybody's favorites. I would love to do all of them, but it's not up to me. I would love to. That's all I can say, right? Like, if it was my choice, like I said, I would just be making Mass Effect expansions just constantly. It's like, okay, who do you guys want next? Okay, Miranda, I can do Miranda. Okay.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
And the powers you translated really well from the video game to the board game, so that was challenging, wasn't it?
Oh yes. Some of the powers, like I said, very easy. Like Garrus's aim thing. First idea that I had, survived all the way to the end. Just one small change by Eric, and that's it. Shepard's command ability, like 20, 30 versions. Liara's analysis ability, where she looks at the cards, 20 versions. It's hard because you need something that works for the game. You need something that none of the other characters can do. You need something that fits their personality as a character, and you need to be cool and feel good for the player to do it, right? Even Rex's ability had many different versions. It wasn't originally like that. It was a few other things before that. There's also things like when we designed the abilities, I didn't know how big the player board was going to be. We knew we were going to have a player board, but I didn't know how big it was. So at first, each character had 7 or 8 unlocks. But as we did the graphic design, and we found out there's not actually enough space on the sheet for 7 or 8, so we need to make it 6. So we decided every character is going to have 6 unlocks, which is sad because originally Rex had this very funny ability unlock called redundant physiology. I think he still has it, right? He has it in this game now called redundant physiology. So
I think yes, I believe yes.
Yeah, it says that he can't take more than 2 health per attack or something like that. It means you can't kill him straight away. Originally, he had that, and then he had a second ability that was also called redundant physiology. So it's two. It's like they're redundant, right? Because Krogan's like 2 hearts, 4 lungs, right? They've got 2 of everything. Yeah. So that was the joke, and it did something quite similar. So like it gave him more health or something like that, so you can survive more hits. But sadly, it's not. While it's very funny, it's not as interesting or cool as having another different ability like the lift grenade. Yeah, so that was also a challenge to do, balancing out all of the abilities, not just for the player to be fun, but also to have different ways for the player to have fun. Because you can play Garrus as a sniper, but you can also play him as like a stealth character. Right, and you can play Rex as a shotgun, but you can also play him as like a battlefield strategist, right? It's like you come here, or go there, right? Like he can do that. So, but it was hard to do that, and also like, does he step on Liara? Because Liara was originally the one who was pulling enemies and throwing them, right? Because she's got the biotic powers, right? So she's like lift, throw, pull. So originally she was the one who was doing all of that battlefield control. But we ended up coming up with the idea of letting her reduce damage to the team. And that also it also feels very biotic, right? It's not something that we can give to Rex. Rex can't reduce damage to the rest of the team. It doesn't really make sense, right? So yeah, so there was a lot of back and forth, many different versions, and I can talk about this for hours because when we did the game, Eric is my co-designer. He did most of his work was the map layout, how where the things actually go on the maps. The systems, like the dice system, is his design. The combat system, the way the enemies work, the card design, that was 90% him. The characters and abilities is 90% me, because I'm the one who knows these characters from the game, right? And also I'm passionate about, I love designing abilities. It's so fun, right? You just say, okay, I make a sniper, like how do I make that feel cool for the player? I have so many ideas. So yeah, that was most of what I ended up doing. So the answer to your question is like, yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of different versions. There was, for example, one of Shepard's ability, long time ago, one of Shepard's abilities was when the command token, so right now what it says is change an action to a enhanced action. So it makes the action better, right? Originally it was Shepard gives another player an action. So they would get 1 extra action on their turn. And the reason we had to change it is because it was so good that if you don't do it, you are hurting the team. You know what I mean? Because giving another player 1 extra action is so powerful that if Shepard doesn't do it, then it's like, why aren't you doing it, right? Because it's too powerful. But the problem was that because the other player was doing the action, the player playing Shepard doesn't feel heroic. They don't get to feel like, oh, I'm the commander, I'm the leader, right? I tell you, do something, and then they did it, and they did the cool thing, and they got the glory, right?
I see now.
I, as the leader, don't feel like I did anything. You know, my leadership ability it didn't feel like a leadership ability. It just felt, and it also felt like, you do that, like I was ordering them around. You know, so there were problems with it. This version now that we have, we're very happy with, because both players get to feel good. Rex saying like, Shepard, I need it, help, you know, and Shepard would be like, high five, I got you, right? And then they both feel good, right? So that's the version that we ended up really liking, because it let both players feel heroic, even though it's much less powerful than the original version.
Yeah, I see. This is very interesting. You what you said. The moment where you can use Shepard as yay, move there. You can move one here. I remember the video game which you give orders.
Yes, exactly. That's
like
where the idea came. That's where the idea came from. You give the order, and then the player does it, right? So yeah, but it ended up not really. It doesn't work in a board game in a cooperative situation, because the other player gets to get the glory. The Shepherd player feels like, okay, I'm just being bossy. I'm just ordering people around, and also, the Shepherd player doesn't tell the other player exactly what to do. They just say, here's an action, and then the other player can just do whatever they want. You know, it ended up not working for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And as you were saying, the board, right, which is now it's this beautiful book here, in which when you buy a game, or newcomers to this adventure, they don't have the tiles in which they will spend 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes setting
4B, okay. 13 F. Yeah, I know. I play games too. I know.
And this is amazing, in which you play, you set up, and you have all the information here you need. You don't need to check and, okay, let me see here. 5 minutes later. No, it's everything here. It's
so that was like I said earlier, we designed it intentionally. Minimum setup, maximum information for the players. It's all there. They don't have to check anything. And another advantage is we get to have unique art for every mission. So every mission looks different. So we do, because the tiles will always be the same, right? Like you have one side, you have another side, but you know, if you want more art, you got to print more tiles. So it's also another thing. It keeps the cost down. It reduces the amount of cardboard that we need to print. So for this particular game, it really makes sense for us to use a map. I still think tiles can be really good, but for a different game. Depends on what you want to do with it. My favorite example of tiles recently is Descent: Legends of the Dark. I don't know if you've played that one.
I've played the very first version. I had the whole game. I had the second game as well, and the third one I played the first box.
Okay, yeah, the first box, right? So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So they use the tiles to create a sense of exploration. I put out 2 tiles. Okay, I don't know what happens next, because the app hasn't told me what's going to happen next, right? So it creates a sense of adventure of like, I go here, okay, what's going to happen? I don't know. I open the door. What's behind the door? Don't know, right? Yeah. So they use tiles really well in that game. So for me, that's something that I learned making Mass Effect, which is when you do something, when you design something in a board game, you should design it with intention, with purpose, right? Why are our enemies cardboard tokens? It's not just to keep the cost down, although it is to keep the cost down, but because we decided they are cardboard tokens, then we can have 2 sides. Minis can't have 2 sides, right? If the enemy is a mini, it's a mini. You know, the most you can do is tell your players, okay, not push it down, you know, but then it's blocking the space. It's, you know, if it's a big mini, then it's like that, right? But because we know it's going to be a cardboard token, we can design it so that there's information on the other side of the token. So we use that as part of our game. Originally, it was going to be shields on one side, health HP on the other side, but we ended up taking out health and just make it shields to be simpler. Because you remember the video game, some characters deal extra damage to shields and some characters deal extra damage to health, right? Which is something that we don't have in our game because it's too complicated, right? They're like, oh, okay, so I hit it with this ability, it does 3 damage. If it shields them +2, you're like, how much damage did I do? How much health does it have? You know, and it's confusing. And it also created the question, let's say the enemy has 2 shields and 2 health, right? I hit it for 3. How much health does it have now? Is it 2 because the shields broke? Or is it 1? Because I did 2 shields and then did 1 damage. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it creates a lot of little inconsistent problems. And especially once we took out modern as well, and we wanted to keep the game as simple as possible, then we took out the health. Then the back of the enemy token, instead of the health, and then it was just stuck. This is how you remember the enemy is stuck. Just flip it over. Yeah. So
very, very, very interesting, because we never thought here, players, all this process. And you were saying before that the creation of the game, and when they one is talking to each other, hey, help me here. So, and there is the computer BA, she's saying something, look, we have seen something here. Which path will you choose? You can do this or that. So it's about choices too. And plus the story is very well written. Everyone we were playing, wow, this is very interesting. For all the other 3 that had played us, right? And the guy who didn't know the game, the original game, wow, that's nice. And the other 3, we were saying, the other 2, we were saying, okay, very well written. How was the part of writing? Did you do it yourself?
That was me. I took not just me. It's me and some other people on the team. My project manager Gavin also did a lot of writing on the game. But in terms of telling BioWare, this is my concept for the story, that was me. I wrote, I want to say maybe 75% of or 70% of all of the text, all of the narrative that's in the book. And then Gavin would add some here and there. Some of them Gavin wrote, and it's been so long that I can't really remember which one. If it's good, it's Gavin. If it's good, it's Gavin. If it's bad, it's me. It's my fault. But yeah, the challenge a lot of the time with the writing is we would come up with something, and then BioWare would say, "Can we do more?" Like, for example, originally there was only 1 enemy type in the game. There was not Cerberus and the Reapers, right? And BioWare asked, "Can we have 2 enemy types in the game? Can we have more variety? Can we?" And then they asked, can we have, do you know when you rescue the refugees? Did you do any of those missions where you rescue the refugees?
Oh, I believe yes. I need
okay.
to play it again.
So some of the missions you don't. Some of the missions you don't rescue any refugees. Okay, but it's possible to play the game and never rescue any prisoners. There's a route that you can take that you don't have any prisoners at all. But the Cerberus prisoners, right? For example, one of the things that BioWare asked for was they asked for, can we make sure that we always say that the prisoners are released and then rescued. It's not just we release them. Where are they? We don't know. Because they want to, the idea is that Shepard and the squad are the heroes, right? They always want to make sure that the prisoners are okay. So they ask, can we have some extra text to make sure that they will always say that, oh, the shuttles will come and pick up the prisoners later. Even if it's just 1 line, it just means that they're thinking about it. And yeah, it's a very reasonable request. all of the requests we had from BioWare were very reasonable when it came to the game design, yeah, and the writing and the story and things like that. They were very helpful. All of their suggestions, I think, made the game better. They really liked the game when they played it. So yeah, it was working with. Now to be clear, I never worked with BioWare directly. I never went to any of those meetings. So it was me talk to the publisher, publisher talk to BioWare, BioWare talk to publisher, publisher talk to me. So
Okay.
you know what I mean? So I was never directly involved. But based on what I heard from the publisher, the team at the publisher, BioWare was always quite happy. They just wanted a few things. Can we improve this? Can we tweak this? One of the things they asked me to take out, at the time, I was very heartbroken about this. They asked me to take out the romance from the game.
Okay.
But they gave a very good reason. And their reason was, this is one mission, right? Romance in Mass Effect doesn't develop over one mission. It develops over the whole story, right? The whole game. So they said, it's too short. We can't do romance if it's just going to be one mission like that. And I was like, fine. I get it. People are not going to be happy. I mean, gamers are not going to be happy. They're like, why can't I kiss Garrus? Yeah. But I really understand their reasoning, and I respect that they care enough about their game and their characters to have a reason like that. It's not some silly reason like, oh, we don't want kissing because the kissing can only be in the video game. No. I thought it was very reasonable. And obviously at the time I was disappointed because, romance in Mass Effect is a big part of the game for a lot of fans, right? So I wanted it to be in there for the fans. And also I had written all of it and I was very happy with it. But yeah, it's okay. The reasoning was solid. I respected why they asked us to take it out. So we took it out.
Okay, so hopefully in the coming near future we'll have the chance. In the near future we'll have the chance, maybe to see that happening in more expansions and everything else. We really hope. And another interesting aspect of the game is the choice to roll dice and select actions to use them, or save a die to be used later on by the other character. It's really exciting. Chunky dice we love, but in a real, and they're big and they're really cool to use. Why did you choose this mechanic?
Well, that was Eric's idea. Okay, let me rewind a little bit. Dice was my idea originally, but my system was way too complicated. It's like, okay, for Garrus to use his sniper ability, you must have 2 dice that are the same. Because in my head, it's, they must match, right? It's precise, right? And then Mordin's dice, he needs dice that are next to each other, like 1 and 2, or 3 and 4, or 4 and 5, and 5 and 6, right? Because he's a scientist, and he can use his abilities to manipulate the dice. We did a prototype of this, and we had to change it really fast because it was way too complicated. Because what would happen was players roll the dice, they look at the dice, they look at their sheet, they look at the dice, they look at their sheet, and then they're like, oh, okay. Then they can play the game. Okay. Whereas with this, when there's just a symbol, they roll, they see, oh, this means move, this means attack, this means I can hack that. Immediately, we took out one layer, basically. So what happened was players roll the dice, they see what they can do, then they decide what to do. So we took out the middle part where they see what they can do. So they roll the dice, then they decide. It made the game a lot faster. That second one with just the icons, that was Eric's idea. And that also he also had the idea for the stars, which is one of my favorite things in the whole game. You roll the star, you're like, oh yeah, you roll it, another star, you roll it, another star, right? And it powers up special abilities, and you feel really good. But I also like that it means that you should use your special ability instead of saving it all the time, because especially if you're the first player, you roll, you're going to get a bunch of stars, right? So you should use your ability before that, But also maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you need to save it from exactly the right moment.
Yes.
So that tension is what is really one of the things that I really like about the game. So that was Eric's idea, the dice and all that, and then putting the different things. And we tried it and we really liked it because it makes the game feel like it still has randomness. You need randomness in a game like this, because if you don't have randomness, the game becomes way too slow. There was one prototype where you rolled the 12 dice, and once you roll it one time, and then first player takes 3, second player takes 3, third player takes 3, then fourth player takes 3. The problem with that version was, because you can see all 12 dice, all 4 players start planning their turn. It's like going, I want this one, I want this one, do you want this one, do you want that? 20 minutes to do one turn. Way too slow. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I see.
So we just said, okay, never mind. Just roll the dice after every turn, but you can keep one. You want to hear a story about that, by the way? This is a great game design story. It's one of my favorites. So you like the mechanic, right? Where before your turn starts, you take one dice, say, I don't want to roll this one. I need this dice, whatever this is, and then you roll the rest of the dice. So originally, when we created this rule, we wrote it that I'm player 1. I roll all the dice. I use 3 dice, and then I ask player 2. Player 2, do you want any of these? And player 2 says, yeah, I want that one. Okay, so I'll save this one for you, and then you roll the rest. Player testers forgot the rule every time. Even when I was running the playtest, I forgot the rule every time. So the solution was not to change the rule, it's just to change where we put the rule from the end of player 1's turn to the start of player 2's turn. That's it. 100% of people remember. Went from 100% of people forgot to 100% of people remember. Why? Human psychology is so strange. It's the same rule. We didn't change anything. We just changed where in the turn it is. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very clever. Very, very interesting. You see, we play the game, we have fun, we embrace the game, the adventure, and we didn't even think about everything you were telling us now. Pretty amazing.
If we do our jobs correctly, you don't think about it at all. That's the point. One of the other things, well, since we're talking about the dice and all this, is one of the things that we really like about this game, both Eric and I, is that we are pulling the players in 3 or 4 or 5 different directions all at the same time. Like, for example, I want to kill that enemy because I want to level up, right? Leveling up is fun.
Yes.
I want to get the loot because I want items. Getting items is fun. I want to achieve the objective because I want to win the game, and winning the game is fun. I want to achieve the objective, but I want to achieve it in the way that I want to do it because I like making choices, and making choices is fun. I want to help my team because helping my team is fun, right? And then there's also like, I want to get the highest score possible in the game because getting the highest score is fun. So we've given the players like 6 or 7 different objectives all at the same time. But the thing is, none of them are actually, except the win the mission, none of them are actually needed. You can actually finish the missions really fast. You just ignore the enemies, run, kill only what you need to, do the objective, leave, done, 15 minutes, right? Yeah. But nobody wants to do that. They want to get the side objective. They want to make sure everybody levels up. They want to grab as much loot as they can, right? Because it's fun. So we made the players create their own difficulty.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. By giving them because technically none of these things are needed. You don't have to level up. You don't have to get loot. You don't have to do the side objective, right? You don't even have to win the Paragon objective. You can just do the Renegade objective every time. It's faster. It's easier, right? So, but players all do it. They always do it.
And we are going to do it again. So we will.
Yeah.
Very nice, very interesting. And please go ahead. Please go ahead.
No, that's exactly what you were going to say, which is I think the players, because it's fun, they want to do it, so they create their own obstacles and they create their own difficulty, right? And that's one of the things that we're quite proud of, because I remember finishing this play session of one of the missions, and they just barely won. And they said, this game is so difficult, like we almost lost. And I said, yeah, but you went for the Paragon objective, you rescued all of the prisoners, you got the side objective, you made sure everybody leveled up, and you got the most points possible for the mission.
So
it's not my fault. You did it. One of my favorite things to say whenever we're playing the game or somebody is playing the game, and something bad happens, like they got shot, or like, oh, my character's down, or like there's like the loot is 4 spaces away and I can only move 3. Every time I say, it's like, that's nonsense. Who designed this? This is terrible.
Very cool.
Yeah, I decided.
It's like the father and the kids. No, you see what you did. And when the box arrived, I imported to Brazil, which is
I appreciate that.
I really wanted so badly. I wanted really now, right? When I saw it, okay, it will be released in, I don't remember the month. I want it now. So I was throwing money to the screen here, and nothing happened. Where is the game? And when the box arrived, it was, wow, it's $50 box with a lot. There's so much content inside. You open the box and you have, wow, we have lots of things, plus the miniatures. And okay, we have to there are the tokens where you have to unpunch them, and then the box, it's kind of it's not and the content of the game, the missions plus the rule book plus the mission book, right, plus the sheets, which they are very well done and with a very great quality, makes the game with a $50 box game with lots of content. So it's worth the money I paid. So
yes, that's something that we wanted people to feel. We wanted people to feel like they got their money's worth when they bought the game. When they open the box and they see how much is inside, they play it and they're like, oh, we finished the campaign, but we only played 3 missions out of 14. There's another 11 missions that we've never played yet, right? So we can do it 4 more times before we see everything. And when we play again, we're like, oh, last time we didn't play Garrus. This time let's try Garrus and leave Tali behind, or let's leave Tali behind and bring Liara this time. And we designed them so that, like I said, even if you're playing Garrus a second time, you can level up Garrus a different way, right? Yeah. So you try a different style of playing Garrus. And you go on the mission, you're like, we didn't bring Rex. We need Rex. There's so many enemies. We can't kill all of them. Or you go on the mission and you go like, we didn't bring Tali. Why can't we open all these doors? There's so many doors, right? Yeah.
Yes,
we wanted you to choose who to bring, and the person you don't bring, you really miss them. You were like, oh, Liara here would be so good.
Yes.
Garrus here would be incredible, but you can't have everything.
Yeah. I was talking with LP, who lives in Portugal, and it's like a candy. You will go to a candy store, but you can choose just one, or you can choose. Okay, our parents. Okay, you can choose 3, but I need 4. No, this one it's for us. So Shepherd. Okay, which one okay, next time I'll pick that one. So it's really cool. It's like in a grocery store or a candy store. It's very
You can't have everything. And we did that partially on purpose to increase the replayability of the game, so that when you replay with a different squad, it will feel different. You know, it will feel really different because of the different abilities that each squad member. When you take one out, you put a different one in. It's going to feel completely different. And like I said, the way you level them up is also going to be completely different. And then the mission, you don't even have to play the same mission. You can play, 3 different missions, and it will be completely different. Yeah. So we really wanted to have the player to have a lot of variety and content and replayability inside this box, because we love Mass Effect, and we know that you also love Mass Effect. And even though it's a small box, and it's obviously, if it's $50, we can't have so many minis, and we can't have 30, 50 missions, right? It's not possible. But we hope that when players play the game, they feel like they really got what they paid for. That was something that was really important to us. Even though it's a cheap game, it's we really hope, and we're getting feedback from people like you and other people as well. When they open the box, we go, "Wow, that's for $50. That's so much."
Yes.
And we're really happy. We're really happy with that.
Okay, thank you.
The team worked really hard to keep the cost as low as possible, so that we can but as many things inside as possible as well. It's the things like using a map book instead of tiles, right? Or using, reduce how many tokens that we have, so that we don't have 50 to 100 tokens in the box. It also reduces complexity, reduces setup, so everything works together to give the finished product. Because we could have easily. One of my first prototypes when I made the game was I made a deck of weapons. So you open the chest, you find a gun. Oh, okay, this is a new gun. I can give this to Garrett, so I can give this to Shepard, or I can give this to Tali, right? But that's like 30 cards, And the game now, the game that you have, only has 60 cards. So another 30 cards is 50% more.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like
right?
you said,
cost. And also ended up taking it out because it was too complicated, right? Because you roll the dice. Okay, I did 3 damage. My gun is plus 5. Wait, no, the enemy has red. Is shields? No, this gun doesn't do +2 to shields. It's only 3. Wait, 3 plus no plus. Yeah, too complicated.
I see. And as you said, as you are passionate with the franchise, and you brought so much love into the box to us players and fans, it's like if you have, it's kind of a sensation with us. It's difficult to express when we opened the box and we started playing the first mission, and then oops, the second one, the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. We were feeling like we were playing, and wow, the designer actually made this game, I think, for himself and us together. So we are playing with him, not physically speaking, but you were with us in that moment. So
that was what we wanted to do. We definitely didn't want to make a game that we don't like, right? What's the point? Why spend all that time and love and energy and effort to make the game that we don't like? There was one moment where we were deep in the middle of playtesting. So it was 4 a.m. in the morning. I just finished a playtest with some Americans. That's why it was 4 a.m. in the morning, because of the time difference. It was 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm really tired. I just spent 5 hours playtesting the game, and then interviewing the playtesters and taking notes. And I'm like, oh, it's 4 a.m. I should sleep. But when you just finish working on something creative and fun, you can't sleep because your energy levels are so high, right? You need to slowly bring it down and relax, right? So, I was like, okay, I need to relax before I can sleep. I should play a game. What game do I want to play? I want to play Mass Effect. So I just opened the prototype and played the game by myself for fun at 4 in the morning. And that was a really good sign for me, because it's like, even after so much work, even after we just finished this big play test, I still wanted to just play it again, just by myself. And that was a really good sign. When I realized out of all the games that I have, the game I really want to play is the one that I've been working on for 9 months. Because at that point, I should be sick of it, right? But I wasn't. I played the game at least 100, maybe even 200 times. I don't know. I mean, how do you count, right? Because sometimes I do a playtest, I'm playing halfway, and I'm like, this doesn't work. Change it. Restart. Is that one? Is that half? Don't know, right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Calvin Wong. Yes, please.
No, I mean, I'm really happy that you and your friends felt that effort and that love that me, Eric, and the rest of the team all put into the game. Because it's not just me and Eric. The rest of the team, the graphic designers, the production manager, the artist, the playtesters, the development team, everybody really, I think we all felt like this is something special. Like this game is something really cool and good here. Because I've been playing games for so long. And this game is in my favorite genre, which is the co-op tactics games. This is my thing. I love these games. I love Doom. I love XCOM. Right? I love all of these. Gloomhaven. I love all of these kinds of games. So this is my genre, right? It's my special baby. And I think I've made one that I really like. This is actually one of my favorite co-op tactics games. And that's great. It's a nice feeling to have, considering, I spent so much time on it.
Really nice, very nice. Calvin, we appreciate very much for your time and bringing us
thank you. This was really fun.
Hopefully, we can meet again.
Yes.
For future ideas, for new products that you will bring us. Thank you very much for your time and being with us. And hope to see you again soon.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening. What's thank you and goodbye in Portuguese?
Obrigado. Até mais.
Obrigado. Até mais.
Excellent. Bye. Yes.